Good morning. Welcome back. Good morning. Go Rangers is right. Rolando. Go Rangers. They're getting hot. Who else won yesterday? Bonadilla. Nice day yesterday, Chef, on Costco. Well done. Ooh, I forgot to look at Costco this morning. I probably should take a look. Damn, what a break on Costco yesterday. But big rejections up there, too. Look at this breakout on Cost yesterday. 510 is going to be big. Just straight up. Those options had to have been up a lot yesterday. Costco options move like crazy. Let's see here. Let's say you took the 500s yesterday. Oh my God. Yeah. 60 cents to $10 on the 500 calls yesterday. Wow. That's a lot. Damn. Yeah, Costco options are wild. Nice job, Chef. Wow, this is a pretty nice looking bear flag right now on the NASDAQ. All right. So, good morning, everyone. Thanks, Six String. I appreciate that. Yeah, it was I think a good video to watch yesterday. Definitely, important with what's going on in the market right now. Definitely something to pay attention to, right? To adapt to the current market conditions. Definitely big. Yeah, weekend in the Garden's going to be wild. Knicks tonight, Rangers tomorrow. The place is going to be, I'm surprised. I'd be surprised if the MSG doesn't burn down this weekend. The place is going to be bumping. Why do some options move like that? Because a lot of options, especially like Costco, Costco's not typically a stock that does what it did yesterday. So IV's low, and when Costco moves, the options are insane, right? Options are insane. Chef does not need to show proof about his profits that he's talking about in the chat. That's the most ridiculous comment I've ever seen. Don't ask people to show proof. Normal people that are not here, sharing education online. I have a duty to share proof, right? I have a duty because I'm here talking to you every day. You don't need proof from normal people, all right? That's just ridiculous. Goodness gracious. So yeah, good morning. Yeah, the 316 on the Qs looks pretty good this morning. Yeah, yesterday was insane. Yesterday was an exact push off demand to supply, and then a huge rejection off supply. 13.2 supply in the NASDAQ was like a absolute someone just got sniped. The whole market got sniped at 13.2. Was pretty awesome, right? Looking pretty awesome on that NASDAQ rejection. So if you followed the supply and demand yesterday, you killed it again, right? I know it's not easy intraday to follow those levels. It's not easy in the heat of the moment to, really trust those levels and to really, play off them. They're there. In hindsight, they're very apparent. And it's just our job to, really trust them and really understand the levels that are on the market right now. So they're still there, right? They're still there. Active today. We are moving a little bit lower. So very interesting, right? Still within that zone, still within some demand levels below. So we have to come into today, even though we're seeing some downside on the pre-market, right? We have to continue to understand demand below, right? We have seen where we've had aggressive pre-market downside, aggressive pre-market upside, and the intraday has totally flipped, right? It's just a total flip-flop between this channel. So today we're moving lower into demand. We will have to see what the market open looks like. It's Friday, right? So be careful of that. Be careful on those 0 DTE options. They're very aggressive. We have a little bit of economic data this morning around 9:45. So yeah, that's the spiel this morning. A little bit of downside on Apple is probably the highlight of this morning. I think Apple had the lowest Apple PC shipments are the weakest since the start of the pandemic. So weak on Apple PC shipments, I think, is what's causing the downside this morning. So I have a call from my friend who knows that I live stream every day at 8 a.m., but he's calling me anyway, as if I'm not doing it today. So let's get started. Welcome back, everyone. Happy you're here again. Hope everyone's having a good week so far, and hope everyone has a great Friday, and I hope everyone has a fantastic weekend. Economic earnings calendar. Really nothing on the economic or the earnings side. Really just Procter & Gamble this morning. So yeah, nothing I'm that interested in. But P&G I think reported well. On the economic calendar, you guys can see we do have 945 services and manufacturing PMI. So we'll see if there's any movement around that 9:45 time. About 15 minutes in the open. Maybe it's in your best interest today to not trade for the first 15. Right? Wait for this PMI to come out and then play the continuation so you don't get stuck in any sort of nonsense that goes on there at 9:45. So, yeah, watch out for that. Watch out for that 9:45 economic data. All right? So, that's that. Tesla 163, monster level on Tesla today. Monster level. Major 4-hour demand. We got below it yesterday intraday, and then by the close, we got back above. So very interesting Tesla 163 level to monitor today. Nvidia 269, big downside into 269 yesterday, holding that this morning. So key level here on Nvidia 269. Robert, thank you very much, man. 999, I appreciate that. That is very generous of you. I hope you have a fantastic day and a fantastic weekend, Robert. Thank you. Apple trend. Apple, big break this morning. A little bit of downside off some, I think it's off this PC shipment news, but overall a pretty nice rejection move. Something to be watching today. Home Depot, 300. One of you guys in the chat, I think, traded this yesterday. This was a good call out. Home Depot's trading back into that 300 level. This is a major rejection level. It rejected again yesterday. Something to watch. Meta 210, Coinbase 60. The reason I bring up Coinbase today is because I'm also going to show you a Bitcoin chart, which actually is on a break and retest rejection. I don't know if it works on Bitcoin. I've never charted out Bitcoin before, but it is interesting to see that it is setting up on the Bitcoin chart, the BTC futures. So I'm going to talk a little bit about Coinbase MicroStrategy and some of this downside that we're seeing. And then finally, Netflix 325. Yeah, Netflix did exactly what I wanted it to do yesterday. I guess I was a day too early to it, but it is what it is, right? That's part of trading. It's going to happen to us a lot. That's going to happen in your journey of trading. You're going to miss a move by a day, by a few hours, by 20 minutes. It's going to happen a lot. You just got to sort of deal with it. All right? Let's get started. So, I think today is going to be a little bit tricky on the NASDAQ. This is sort of difficult to read this morning. I don't know exactly where this demand can step in. It's a very wide range, and it might be difficult to read. It might be difficult to trade. Here's why I say this. Because I think anywhere from 13,000 to 12,930, which is a pretty big range. It's about a 70-point range. Anywhere from 13,000 psych to around the lows here, around 12,930, I think can find demand, right? I think anywhere in this zone, we could find a demand bounce. It could be anywhere in here, right? And this is the problem that you're going to have today. Because if we start slipping into this zone, it's going to be very difficult to trust the downside as we approach these lows. And these lows are not all lined up at a certain level. The supply is a little bit easier, right? Look at the supply above. It's very lined up around 13.2. The demand is a little wide, right? You can see the demand really steps in anywhere between like 12,930 and 13,000. So this whole 70-point range is going to be, in my opinion, a little bit tough to read today. So just, it makes me sort of not want to trade today. Part of me just says you probably want to stay away from this zone. I'm going to sort of read the price action today and see how it is. It's going to have to sort of be a watch and see sort of day for me to see how that price action starts to read intraday. But this whole zone could absolutely hold up today. And we could slip 13,000, go to like 12,970 and bounce. We could slip 13,000, go to like 12,955 and bounce. It would make sense to see a bounce anywhere in this zone, right? So be a little bit cautious on the short side. Where I really think that short side sets up, like really structured and very clean, is a break and hold under 12,930. Under this low right here, right? This low right here, that makes sense to me. If we reject this low, this ultimate low of the last few weeks, that would be something I could, definitely get behind. Anywhere above this low, anywhere above this consolidation right here is going to be tricky, right? Anywhere above this is going to be tricky on the downside, in my opinion, today. So just be a little bit cautious down here, right? There's clear demand here. We've seen it. We've seen rejections. We've seen clear demand. And it's not going to be as easy as like, oh, if we're under 13,000, we're going down. It might be. You could watch for that to see how 13,000 reacts, that psych level. But even under 13,000, you got lows here of around 12,967. You got lows here around 12,950. You got lows here of 12,930. So I think you see my point, right, of this sort of large zone of demand. So just please be careful in there. If we go to the shorter term time frames, this is the 5-minute chart. Actually, you know what? I'm going to go to the 15, 5-day 15. So you can see we're getting that demand push so far this morning off 13,000, right? We pushed aggressively down into it in the pre-market, and we're starting to see that demand step up. Now, the first area I'm watching is, if I got to go to the 5-minute for this one. The first area I'm watching is this previous low from yesterday. It's anywhere between 13,040 and 13,030. It's this little 10-point range. I'm watching these lows. I'm watching these lows. I'm watching these lows. And I'm watching this pre-market low right here. This little, the low before we made a new low. I'm watching this little 1330 to 1340 level. That's your first area of potential rejections. If we cannot get above this level, then I could see I could see that weakness come in. If we get back above this level and we start to now hold above this level, I don't think you can look for shorts, right? You're in demand, right? We talked about this in my video yesterday. This is your major demand down at 13,000, which is clearly holding right now. And if you get back above yesterday's lows, right? If you get back above this pre-market double bottom, if you get back above this really extreme low from yesterday, and you get back above this pre-market low, then you're going to have to you can't look for downside then. You have to trust that demand. You can see the NASDAQ is starting to push up, starting to break back above these lows off 13,000 demand. So very interesting here, right? Now, if we push further to the upside, right, where are the clear rejections? They're all up here around 13,090, 13,100. That is your next zone to be watching intraday, right? So if we sort of put our red zone here, you guys can see if we do get further upside today, you have to watch out for the rejections up at there's 13,090, 13,001. Previous lows here, all this rejection here in the pre-market after hours, that could be where you reject, right? So really it's around that 13,000 demand. It's the 1330, 1340 yesterday's lows, right? And then it's the highs of around 13,001. That 13,001 is also, right, it's not just the short-term level. If we go to the 15-minute chart, we can see 13,001 is more than just that pre-market rejection zone. If we extend this to the left, we can see this whole 13,001, 13,090 area is also, right, some previous lows from back here. So you can see 13,090, 13,001, 13,090, 13,001, once again here, and that is where we rejected this morning, right? Or after hours and this morning. It's a tight range this morning. Yeah, 13,070, I see that gold. I think that, you could probably watch that, right? There is a lot of levels above. And we definitely need to have them on the chart, right? We can't ignore them. You might say, oh, why do we have, why do we have to watch every level here? We do, right? We do. That's the unfortunate thing. We do have to watch these levels. So this is what I'm watching today, right? 13,000 demand, 13,040, 13,035 support. I'm actually going to turn this green now because we are now trading above it. So we can adjust that as we speak here live on the chat. So I'm going to now turn this into a demand, right? Because if we hold above that, we cannot short into this. If we hold above this 13,040 area, look for that 13,070 right here, right? And then look for the 13,100 all right here. Those are the levels I'd watch on the NASDAQ today. All right. Have those on your charts. Watch for those pushes and rejections. Watch for those pushes and retest holds for more upside. Maybe rejection at 13.1, right? Keep an eye on these levels today. The key, I'd say right now, the key as of right now that you have to come into the morning with is that you cannot short into 13,000. That is the key, all right? That is what you need to have in your mind this morning. I am not looking, if we break down here, I am not going to short into 13,000 demand. All right, that is really the key. I think that can save you a lot of money today. If you start to short into 13,000, you are asking for a really nasty demand bounce. You can already see the demand stepping in. Please do not short into 13,000 today, unless we get a very legitimate break and hold below. All right. So that's the NASDAQ. ES. The ES is holding 4140 still. And this is going to be key. This is a little bit of an easier read on the ES. So the S&P 500 is still holding last Friday's lows. All this support here, right? All this the 4140 lows on last Friday, and you can see we held that level yesterday, and we're holding it again this morning, right? So 4140, you are not shorting the S&P into 4140 today. You can see yesterday, even after that very, very aggressive downside move to close the day, look at the demand bounce off 4140 to end the day. So this is clearly not the level that you are going to battle today into the downside, right? You can see 4140 yesterday. It's holding again in the pre-market. You do not, all right, if the market's here, let's say the market goes straight down at open, right? And you love to chase, right? You're a chaser. I'm going to start chasing these moves. If you start to enter puts here on 0 DTE, and this demand does anything of a dance, right? If it just maybe even retraces 50%, you are going to lose 70, 80, 90% of your options in 5 minutes. It is not going to be a pretty sight if you start to enter puts at demand at 4140. There is most likely going to be a dance that happens here that will either theta decay your contracts into nothing, right? Or give you a really nasty demand bounce, right? And you're going to lose 80% in 5 minutes, right? So please do not short into demand at 4140, right? That is very apparent. You can see even after yesterday, even after a nasty, nasty downside move to close the day, we had a ridiculous bounce into end of day. So please be careful there. That's very apparent. That is something you have to pay attention to. To the upside, if I can zoom back in, if TOS will allow me. To the upside, the fact that 4155, it's really up to like 4157. The fact that this previous low yesterday, or from Wednesday, turned into rejections here in the pre-market is very key. So make sure to pay attention to that this morning. Here's the 15-minute chart. You can see you have this previous low from Wednesday that we turned into support intraday that is now turning into rejections, right? And so I want to point this out, right? You see this previous low? It's really down to like this 4152 area. So you see this previous low from Wednesday, double bottom low before we found demand right here. Look at what it did yesterday intraday, right? This is a very key takeaway. Look at yesterday intraday. So this is yesterday intraday. And so look at this break and double bottom hold here and that continuation to the upside, right? Why did this happen yesterday? Why did we hold here? This was, once again, right, a previous pre-market high. You can see right there, break and retest. And not only was it this pre-market high, it was Wednesday's lows, right? Wednesday's lows. So we broke above Wednesday's lows. We came back into it, held it as demand, leading to more upside. Big flush under it, and look at, oh God, that is just so clean. Look at this, right? Look at end of day. This is really clean here. 2-minute chart. Where's yesterday? I mean, it doesn't get much cleaner than that. Does anyone know what I'm looking at here? Look at this. Absolutely gorgeous. Previous double bottom lows, right? Which was also pre-market highs, which was also Wednesday's lows, into an absolutely perfect break and retest. Break, retest, bear flag, boom, right? This is my favorite setup on the market by far. Right? This is just perfection. Break and retest bear flags are so hot. So really nice, right? Look at that. Break, retest, bear flag into previous lows. That was a beautiful futures trade right there. if you guys caught that one. So to go back to today, right? To go back to today, right? We now have to watch the rejections around this 4152, 4157 zone, right? You have to watch here. This is where you possibly could reject, right up in here. So 4152 to 57, about a 5-point range. Watch that. Watch the 4140 demand, right? If we just trade within here today, this is the channel you're looking to trade, right? And if we break out of it, right? If we break and we hold above, then you have to look for more upside. All right. 4150, 4157, 4140 demand. Let's go to the SPY. The SPY is going to be all about 411 today, and it was all about 411 yesterday, right? It was all about 411 yesterday, and it looks like it's going to be 411 today. So yesterday we came into the market. We talked about this in the live stream. We said do not short into 411 in the morning, right? And you can see we held 411 perfectly at market open, and we rallied off of it. So we are not going to short today into 411, right? It does not make sense. If it happens, right, if you short here, you have to, this has to be a mindset that you are okay with. This has to be a mindset that you come into the day with. If the market opens here and it just goes straight down through 411, you cannot sit there and say, wow, I should have taken puts at open. That is the worst mindset you could possibly have, right? If you think that taking puts here back into yesterday's lows, back into major 411 demand is a good trade, even if it made money, even if this is what it did, that is not a good trade. Yes, you made money doing it, but you are breaking every type of rule. You are just shorting into major demand levels, which you've seen over the last few weeks is not a profitable strategy. Now, if it works today, you say, all right, whatever, right? I don't care that I missed that. It's not something I would trade. I'm going to stick to my trading strategy. I'm going to stick to my rules. I said I don't want to short into 411. If it works, so be it, right? But if you think that's a good trade, you're going to continue to do it. You're going to have that mindset that you can just do whatever you think and you don't care about these levels, and it's probably going to lead to losses in the long term. So do not get upset if that's what happens, right? You got to have that mindset. If you break and you hold below 411, right, that could be where you get that setup, that trade to set up. If you can break and retest under 411, start to turn yesterday's lows into rejections, then that would be nice. So watch 411 today. That's major. Be careful shorting into that. To the upside, it's pretty much the same, right? It's that 412 area. Sort of this whole trade up with you yesterday. I couldn't even asked you to hit you. So on the upside, not that clean on the upside, to be honest. Not that clean on the upside, to be honest. It looks like you're sort of just watching these pre-market highs here, honestly. Right around this 412, right? Even though it's not that clean. But I'd say you watch this little 412 area, right? This high, these highs, and these highs. That's what I'd say you watch. This 412. Not that clean on the SPY, though. A lot cleaner on the ES in that regard. So, yeah. Watch that 412, right? Watch that 411. Watch this $1 range, really. ES looks a little bit cleaner, right? Over 41.57. This little area looks a little bit cleaner. 412.58. 412.58. I mean, there's levels up here, of course, but this is the short-term level I'd watch. You obviously have these lows here, 413, right? You got to obviously watch that. That's very clear. You can see previous lows, consolidation, previous lows, right? Very clear, 413. That's clear. And then just this little pre-market high here, I'd say. So 412.25. This little pre-market high area, this triple top from this morning. And then I would say 413. Those would be my levels. This triple top, 413. Demand clearly at 411. I know you guys like to look at the Qs, so I'll pop in the Qs. The 416 break is crucial this morning. So you have 416 lows here, 416 lows here, 416 lows here. Today we're under 316. 316 lows, 316 lows, 316 lows. You're under 316. So if the Qs stay under 316 today, I would expect weakness. So watch 316 this morning on the QQQ. That's going to be a key level today. Let's go YM. What's the Dow doing this morning? The Dow is trying to hold on, it looks like. You are sort of trading right back into the lows. That's a little concerning. So right here on the Dow, you're trading back into these lows. You're trading back into these lows, back into these lows, back into these lows. You can see it rejected yesterday, and you're trading back into the lows right now. So be careful of the Dow trading back into the 33,900, 34,000 lows. All right? You can see the demand stepped up around this 33,800 area. You can watch out for that. But right now, you're trading right into these lows here. You can see the Dow. Yeah, that's pretty much all I have for you there. Previous lows, previous lows, previous lows, and you're just sort of trading back into it. So if you start to reject these previous lows, this could be weak. If you turn these previous lows back into support, if you close the day like this, right, and the Dow is now trading above these previous lows, then this could now be your new demand. But so watch out for these Monday, Tuesday. Honestly, it's all these Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday lows is what I'd watch on the Dow. Russell, 1800. That's what I'd watch. 1800, 1805. Watch this supply. All right, let's continue. Tesla. So 163, major level here. You guys can see we have 163 here, right? And we have 163 here. This is a big level, 163. If we go to the 5-minute chart from yesterday, you guys can see that we broke 163. After breaking 163 late day, we had a very aggressive flush to the downside into 160s. But we got back into it by close, which is very telling, right? The fact that we were able to rally back into 163 by close, get back above it, and now open above it is very important. So we have to say to ourselves, we cannot look to short Tesla into 163 unless it really breaks down and stays below. Maybe there's a scalp there. But right now, you are holding above 163. Be careful shorting into that. To the upside, right? If there's an up, you could look for the long off 163. It's possible. If you really want to be contrarian, you look for that 163 level. Just watch out for 166 and watch out for 169. Those are the two rejection points that I would watch today on Tesla. 166, 169. All right? Previous lows, previous highs, 166. And then this previous double top high, 169. All right? But please be careful shorting Tesla into 163. This is a major 4-hour chart. Now, I will say, if Tesla does get below 163 and it really starts to break down, there is little to no support here. If it really wants to start to break down, there's a major low volume area here between 163 and 145. So if we do have some confirmation of the market holding below 163 here on Tesla, then we could look for this gap, this little low volume gap. But that's not until we get some confirmation that Tesla is going to hold under 163. Nvidia, 269, big level here. So here's the hourly chart. You guys can see we have some previous tops here around 269. Rejection, 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 and a rejection at 269. All right, and you can see that we moved into that level this morning in the pre-market, and that is where we're starting to hold. So we cannot short into 269 today. All right, you are shorting into a previous quadruple top that is acting as demand. You are not shorting into 269. If you could see this level turn into a rejection point and you start to do this, right? If we activate this channel, right? If we reactivate this channel and we get back into a channel between here and we start to turn 269 into rejections, then you could probably look for that downside into 263. But it's not until 269 acts as a new rejection point that you play the downside, because as of right now, it is just a pullback. It's honestly, this is just a retest of the breakout point still. So this is still not that bearish. I know you guys see this big aggressive downside. This is still holding a pretty key level here at 269 of these previous highs. And if you zoom out, right, don't forget, right, if you zoom out, it's not that bad. I know, the downside yesterday probably got a lot of people worked up. This is nowhere near breaking down yet, Nvidia. Where it really needs to break to really say, where I would say it's starting to break down, is 263, right? You obviously have to break this clear bottom here over the last month and a half, 263. That's really where you can get that really strong downside move into like 242. So be careful, coming out here today thinking Nvidia's done. It's time to kill this thing, right? It's time to start shorting this thing, because right now you can see we're holding that 269. So you could look for the short here. If we move up into 272, I could see you could look for the short there at these previous lows. I'm going to go to the 15-minute for this one. Right? So you can see if we push off that 269, you could look for that retest of 272. That could be your short entry. Or you could look for the short entry back at 275. That could also be a great short entry there. But, risk reward does not align to short into 269 here. So watch out for that. 269, 272, 275. Those are the levels I'd watch. Apple, pretty interesting break on Apple this morning. So you can see Apple with this little uptrend, right? It's been in this little uptrending channel. This morning, big break, right? Uptrending channel, big break through that channel. So we're going to delete that channel for now so we can see that that's been broken. We're going to go into the 30-minute chart. I know there's a lot of lines here, but bear with me because these are all important on Apple. So we have 164, right? Bottom here, 164. Be careful shorting into 164. I'm sorry, 164. The big break that I would love to catch today, if we break it, right? I would love to see this 164 rejection. This would be the trade I'd love to take into 162. I think there's some opportunity right here, right? This looks like opportunity to me right there, right? This and this. You guys see these big move downside, big move upside? That's the opportunity I want to try to take. This bigger move where this low volume gap is. I don't really want to get stuck in this. I want to trade this. So I would like to see the break under 164, turn it into a rejection, and then get that nice downside move into 162. That would be nice. But I can't look for that, right? I can't look for that until 164 breaks, because if I'm shorting Apple into 164 demand, I'm exposing myself to this demand holding again, and me just being too early to the trade, getting in because I'm anxious, getting in because I'm greedy, and not waiting for confirmation. So I need to wait for 164 to break down. If we get that breakdown, I'll look for that downside into 162. Now, you could look for the 165 retest rejection today. That is a possibility, right? It's right here. If you move higher into 165, you could look for that rejection play, right? You're rejecting the previous lows here. You could look for that off 165. The other one I'd look for is, honestly, it's just the dollar increments is where Apple's been responding. So the next dollar increments up here at 166, you could look for that retest rejection as well. So 166, 165, 164. It's really these $3, these whole numbers here that have really shown reactions on Apple lately. So 30-minute chart, you guys can see, right? Reactions at 164, reactions at 165, and reactions at 166. So the clean play would be an awesome little break and hold under 164. That's really what I'd love to see. All right. Home Depot. Oh, yeah, I forgot to put Amazon on the schedule. Amazon is the strongest stock of this morning, so I'm going to look at Amazon. Don't worry. Home Depot, 300. Big level here. And an important level to see what happens, because above 300, you could get some upside. But, I don't know if that's going to happen in this market as of right now. It depends. We'll have to see what the Dow looks like today. But this 300 level has been a major rejection point, right? Rejection, rejection, rejection at 300. Above 300, I could totally see this opportunity into 310, right? Look at this. I could totally see the opportunity to upside over 300. But as of right now, it is not wanting to get over 300. And I'm pretty sure this is the 200 SMA still, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so the 200 SMA is just sort of flatlining at 300. So if we actually hold above the 200, right, then I think you'll get that push into 310. But until then, I think you got to look at this level as a rejection point. So if I get the 4-hour chart again, if you see 300 start to reject, this could be a nice little trend break potential, right? If we start to see this, another $300 rejection point, and you start to see this breakdown, right, this could be nice. So keep an eye on that 300 level on HD. Might present some opportunities to both directions. All right, I'm going to go to Amazon. So Amazon is very strong this morning. And actually, I have to now turn this green because it is now holding above. I'd probably put it at 105. So Amazon, right, we talked about this one. We talked about how this is a major breakout point here above this 104.20. And we can see it's been really holding on, right? It's really been holding on. It's been attempting this breakout, and it looks like it's starting to get some squeeze here above this 104.20. This 104.20 level dates back pretty far, all right? So if we go to the 4-hour chart, this 104.20 level dates back all the way to October of last year. So you can see 104s, right? 104.20s, 104 area here, and you're 104 again right here in the short term. You're starting to get that squeeze above it. So how do you play Amazon today? Well, first you need to see the market hold demand, and if it does, you could look for the 105 retest. That would be the best entry here today. If you can get a retest of this 105, retest of this previous high here, if those previous double top highs turn into support today, that could be a really nice break and hold above 105, right? So that would be something I definitely watch. 105, you could take it at 105.20, but I'd like to see that 105 come in, get a nice break and retest, hold that level. If the NQES are pushing off demand, then that could be a nice setup. All right, just watch out again for maybe that 200 SMA up here. But yeah, 105, that would be the retest I'd watch today on Amazon. Meta 210. Meta 210. Yeah, pretty important level here. You guys can see Meta has moved back into 210. This is a previous low here, right? This is a previous low here, and you are sort of holding that previous low right here, right? 210. So be careful shorting Meta into 210, right? If you get under 210, you might get some downside continuation. Watch out for 210. I would look for the retest rejection of 212 today. I would look for us to push to the upside into 212 and then see if this starts to reject 212. That would be the level I'd look for. Why 212? If I go back, you will see this level was important in the past. 212 is the previous low here, right? It's some previous lows here. It's a nice little bounce here. It's a high here, and it's a hold here, right? So this is a big level up here at 210 or 212. So I would look for the retest to 212 for potential shorts. If Meta reclaims 212, then you can no longer look for the short side, right? Because that could hold 212. So 212, 210. That's what I watch on Meta today. Coinbase. So this is a pretty big one here on Coinbase. I don't know. I think Coinbase is just being held up by something. I don't know what it is. I mean, it's just obviously it's very clear. The price action that you see here, it's clearly being held up by maybe Cathie Wood. Who knows? But yeah, I mean, 60. Look at this. Look at this 60. It's pretty wild. Look at this zone on Coinbase. Every single time it's come down to this level, you have seen either major support, major rejections, major support, major support. So you're sitting right at 60 again on Coinbase again, right? You're sitting right at 60. This is also the 200 SMA that's sort of curling right under $60. So this morning or yesterday, you can see we moved into 60, pretty much right to it. This morning, we're starting to hold it. I'm not someone that's going to be long coin off 60. That's just not the guy I am. That's just not me. That doesn't really fit into my trading style. At least, maybe it's just because I'll never trade coin, especially looking at this chart. This is a disastrous chart that I would have absolutely no interest in being a part of. But 60 is important, so watch that. And if you break 60, I want everyone to be aware that if you do break 60 at some point in the future, be careful or watch out for the downside. Could be a really nice downside play if we actually start turning 60 into rejections rather than turning it into support, right? So watch 60, right? That's very interesting. Keep an eye on that 60 level on coin. I wanted to point this out because Bitcoin, which is not something I'll usually look at, but I was sort of just messing around yesterday, looking at different stuff, doing a little night technical analysis, and I came across this chart. And this chart is pretty damn interesting. This is the weekly chart on the Bitcoin futures. And this is a perfect retest rejection of this key 31,000 level on BTC, on Bitcoin futures. This is very interesting, right? Previous lows, previous rejection point. This is very consistent with what you see even on individual stocks, right? You get a move down under that major demand. You break the demand. When you come back into it, you start to see the rejection come in, right? You start to get that rejection to come in. So this is very, very consistent with what I see on individual stocks. Do I know it's going to work on BTC futures? Absolutely 0% do I know that. I have no clue. But I do want to just I thought it was interesting to look at. Really clear break and retest on BTC here of around this 30,000, 31,000 level. So big watch there. Last one that I wanted to point out for us today is Netflix. Netflix. So, really nice upside yesterday on Netflix off that 319 demand. If you guys caught that, well done. You can see it held all day on Wednesday. On Thursday yesterday, it just rallied off that 319. So, really nice push. Today, I don't know if this is red or green yet, but right now I'm going to keep it red because we're below it. Right today, I would watch this 325.50, right here and right here, 325.50. That's very important. If we reject 325.50, you are rejecting this yesterday low. So watch out for 325.50 and then watch out for this previous double top high from Wednesday as well. So 325.50 to 323.50 area, around that 2-point range on Netflix. If Netflix gets under this low, you could see that test of this low a day or this 319 lows again if you do break back under this 323. And if Netflix starts to maintain above yesterday's support level of 325, you could see that push again. So very interesting here on Netflix today. 325.50, 323 are the levels I'd watch. This previous double top and then this previous low right here is what I'd watch. So this low and then this double top is what I'd watch. All right, guys, I'm going to get out of here early today. I hope you guys did enjoy the live stream. If you guys could take 1 second and press that like button, that would be much appreciated. I would much appreciate a like. Subscribe to the channel if you are new here. I hope you guys did enjoy today. I hope you guys have a fantastic weekend. It's Friday. If you guys get a nice trade to start the morning, get the hell out of there, man. You do not need to sit around your computer all day. My goal today, trade for an hour, max. Trade for an hour. Hopefully, have a good little morning. Take a few nice scalps. Get the hell out. Go enjoy Friday. It's the weekend, man. You gotta value your weekends. You gotta enjoy them. You gotta clear the mind. You gotta come back on a Monday morning refreshed. It's so important. All right, it is so important. Be careful on those 0 DTEs today, guys. If you guys are not comfortable with them, trade next week's, right? Trade next week's. And let's go Rangers, man. Let's go Rangers. And Knicks. Let's go Knicks. But most importantly, let's go Rangers. All right, guys. Have a fantastic weekend, and I will see you here on Monday. Peace.
Bye.